We've shared a bed, but we're never married.
Hello and welcome back. In today's video, we'll be purchasing the most expensive house in Oblivion. Plus, learn why the poor previous owner was booted out on the street so callously. Also, discover the dark secrets of the manor's hidden treasure found within its walls. And finally, there's a quest about purchasing Oblivion's only orphan sex slave in there. Enjoy! To begin the quest to purchase Skingrad's vacant manor, a prerequisite before meeting said sex slave, we cross the narrow stone bridge under the baleful gaze of a blood moon, high above the city to Castle Skingrad. Once inside the county hall, we approach the Count's orc butler, who greets.
Hail!
Hello there. I was actually looking for your assistance, if I may.
Sorry, you want me? I'm Shumgro Yarog, the Count's butler.
Now, if you're curious, like myself, as to why Shum was taken aback that we sought him out specifically, it's not because of his duties as a butler, but rather the fact that he's an orc and faces prejudice from other citizens of Skingrad, there can be heard saying.
I wouldn't want an orc butler, but apparently the Count doesn't mind. Shumgro Yarog has been there for years.
Shum Groyarug is the butler in Castle Skingrad. Who ever heard of an orc butler? Plus, he's in that orc social club. What a joke.
Speaking to the maligned orc, he becomes wary of us when we admit. Actually, I'm looking to purchase a house in Skingrad as I've become fond of the area, but I haven't seen any vacant houses. Do you know any, perchance?
When we're better friends, ask again.
We then proceed to lace Shum's palms with some septums, and it becomes more receptive.
See? Was that hard?
With maxed out disposition through bribery, we then re-ask. So you were saying about the house in town?
Count Hasseldor will only consider buyers of distinction. You just aren't famous enough.
Not even copious amounts of gold are enough for the Count to open his city to us? Sounds like a hard man to please.
If it's not one thing, it's another. The Count is very particular about his food and drink. Everything must be just so. Be seeing you.
Congruently, we can hear Cyrodiil about the absentee Count.
I suppose Count Hasseldor keeps Skingrad running smoothly, but you hardly ever see the man.
I've heard some strange stories about Count Hasseldor. I'm sure they couldn't be true, though.
Refusing to give up our search for a nice manor in Skingrad, we then turn to his imperial steward nearby, who disdainfully questions.
Greetings,
Do
Imperial.
you need something? The Count will not see you now. Not now. Not ever. He sees no one. I'm Mercator Hositis, his steward. I believe that's all you need to know.
Look, I get it. I can't see the Count. You can keep him. All I want to do is buy a house in town. Now I have the septums, and I believe that's all you need to know.
You'll have to speak with Shumgro Yarog about that. He's the only one that can handle the deed.
Okay, I get it. Shum is the man to speak to, but could you at least point me to some of Skingrad's more refined activities for a visitor?
Wander the streets, fields, and public places of Skingrad to your heart's content. Just don't include me in your social explorations.
Okay, we're done here.
Bye.
We then turn to the Count's final remaining steward, an Argonian woman standing by the stairs who turns to greet.
I'm Hal Lears, Count Skingrad's steward. The Count does not accept unsolicited visitors, I'm afraid. I apologize for the inconvenience.
Surely there's a way I can curry favor with the Count himself. I'm just looking to buy a house in town. I don't know about all these fame requirements. Is there any way I can speak to the Count just for a moment?
Count Skingrad is a very private person. I handle all the county's public affairs and consult with the Count when necessary. Tidings.
Sick of being shut down by the Count's surly staff, we wait until the hour grows late and watch his butler toddle up the stairs, and as his stewards follow in tow, We ourselves follow along up the staircase, into the doorway to our left and up the small flight of stairs, and break our way into the Lord's manor to confront Count Hasseldor, and hopefully find the man himself is more reasonable than his staff. Inside the manor, we find a cavernous hall that is empty, and a large vacant throne sits in the middle of the room. Ascending the stairs to the right, we find our way past a small reception desk and into the Count's private quarters. When we open the door, he confronts.
I think you should leave.
Count Hasseldor?
I'm sorry. We've not met. I'm Janice Hasseldor, Count Skingrad.
Look, 1,000 apologies for disturbing you at this late hour. I just need a moment of your time. I may not have garnered fame around town, but I'm looking to purchase a house, if I may be so bold.
Perhaps you'd better speak with my steward. I'm afraid I have little time to spend with visitors to Skingrad.
Yes, I understand it's... Oh, I see that you're predisposed. I'm so sorry for bothering you. Shum, I didn't see you there either.
This is your last warning. Get out, or I'll call the guards and have you arrested.
Yep, okay, understood. I'm just leaving. If we dare approach Shum during normal business hours, he pretends the whole sordid event never transpired.
A hail and hearty welcome, friend.
Now, if we return with Shum's disposition at 70 and our fame at 15, he will instead respond to our inquiry.
I can speak for the Count. Rosethorn Hall is a stately manor currently occupied by Vanderalan Trebatius. You won't find a better property for sale. It's just inside the main gate, near the bridge to the chapel.
Wait, you telling me there's a guy inside there? What? I don't think I'm ready to buy if it means somebody gets kicked out on the street.
Somehow I knew you weren't serious about it.
Look, I've got septums, but 25,000 gold is too rich for my blood.
Your blood? I wouldn't dream of paying 25,000 gold for your blood. But that is the price for that house. Take it or leave it.
Now, it should be noted, Shum's off-color remark about paying for our blood is one of many clues as to Skingrad's underground crimson currency. However, for now, if we have the septums, we can say, you know what? I've heard about Rosethorn Hall. That's a great deal at 25,000 gold. Sold.
I will order the deed drawn up. Take this key. The house is just inside the gate, by the bridge to the chapel. Don't worry about Vanderalan Trebatius. I'll have him evicted. I'm sure he'll find another home easily. Oh, and don't worry. We're tossing all his junk out as well. If you head to Colovian Traders, Gunder can provide all sorts of great furnishings for your new home. Good luck. Good day.
Can I help you?
With 25,000 gold removed, being the most expensive house in Cyrodiil, our quest updates. I just bought a house in Skingrad. It's just inside the main gate, next to the bridge that leads to the chapel. Exiting the county hall, we see Trebatius himself stalking out.
Hiding citizen. Any time now.
And we shall explore his own journey afterward, as there's some pretty interesting cut content attached to the Imperial. Making our way down to Skingrad's eastern gate, we follow the cobble path and see, as promised, just past the road that leads to the chapel to our left, and across the road from Summit Mist Manor, a palatial 3-story dwelling towering over us, constructed in the tasteful Skingrad aesthetic. Entering the abode with our key, our quest then immediately updates. Now that I've arrived at my new house in Skingrad, I may want to head over to Gunder at Colovian Traders, as Shum had instructed, to secure some furnishings for it. Seeing as Trebatius' furnishings were recently tossed out. But what has happened to the Imperial? Well, first, let's have a brief look over the manor. On the bottom floor, we find a fireplace in the main hall. To our left, a small dining room. To the right is a study nook. Ascending the stairs on the second floor, we find an open area that could be used for storage and sitting. Outside, we find a sizable balcony. And heading upstairs, we discover a commodious bedroom, boasting its own bed left perhaps by the previous owner, 3 stained windows, and a fireplace still roaring in anticipation of our occupation. However, there's one room left we are yet to explore. The basement, found in the main hall just to the right of the fireplace. Downstairs we find a dark, dismal room to store wine or foodstuffs. Interestingly, there are still several cloves of garlic hung over a pillar. Either Trebatius was quite the chef, or maybe he's made a panic room to hide from vampires. But what of the exiled Imperial who couldn't afford his tenancy? Well, Van Dorelen was apparently a big deal in Skingrad before he fell on hard times. After his forcible removal from the property, aka eviction, we will find him instead drowning his sorrows at the Two Sisters Lodge. Though it should also be taken into account, although unconfirmed, it's likely Van Dorelen was a man of great standing, obviously enough to own a manor. Why? Well, he was included in the Arena Champions faction because he was originally meant to be Skingrad's local champion in the arena back when each Oblivion city boasted its own arena. This would also explain why he lacks any particular role or any unique dialogue in the final game. An unused AI package by the name of Van Dorelen Trebatius Bloodworks seems to imply this even further, as it would see Van Dorelen use a melee weapon for 9 straight hours starting from midday. While a location is no longer specified, Bloodworks are the underworks of an arena where the combatants can be seen training. Interestingly, Van Dorelen's package that makes him move to the guardhouse after he's evicted is named Van Dorelen Trebatius Militia Default. Though it's unknown what this package exactly is, Van Dorelen is the only person with such a package made for them. When approaching the Imperial, he seems to hold a grudge about us taking over his home.
I'm waiting.
We can then greet. Hey, sorry about the house. Good news is it's actually got furnishings again. How are you traveling?
I'll buy sweet rolls from Salmo the baker any day. Once I was carrying a sweet roll when 3 thugs attacked me, so I took the sweet roll. I'm through talking to you.
Wow. He must have taken quite a few blows to the head during his days in the arena. It's probably important to remember wear a helmet at all times. Now, funnily enough, the devs shoved him in the guardhouse of all places to hone his martial prowess. Perhaps he's thinking of becoming one of Skingrad's strong-arm guards to get out his frustrations on, I don't know, poor Glathier, the paranoid elf that we've covered in a previous video, linked at the end of this one.
I am busy, so if you will excuse me.
So now we know of the sad story of Van Dorelen being evicted from his home. I think it's time we do as the Count's butler had instructed and head over to see Gunda at the Colovian trader to buy some furnishings for the sadly empty abode. Finding the Colovian trader just a stone's throw away. Upon our entry, a shapely Nord woman greets.
Well met.
Looking around, we see the store is filled with miscellaneous items, and as we approach the proprietor, we also see that he stocks weapons. Seeing our interest, the Nord Gunda greets.
Welcome to Colovian Traders, Skingrad's finest selection of general merchandise. I'm Gunder. Just let me know what you want.
Nice to meet you, Gunda. I've just purchased a home around the corner. Say, I would love to see your wares.
Only quality goods for sale here. What can I interest you in?
There are a whopping 16 upgrades for the house that we can now purchase, which makes the manor more than livable, boasting all sorts of display items, including tapestries, paintings, dining rooms, balcony upgrades, and of course, some for the spacious boudoir. We then pause to see the final item being a servant's quarters, boasting 2 stools, a privacy screen, bed, clothing cupboard, table, chest, assorted candles, and assorted pottery. More than enough to allow us to have a servant make themselves at home, though. Where would we even begin to look for one?
Come back and see me again.
Our quest and updates have now brought everything Gunda has for my house in Skingrad. As we turn to leave, we bump into Gunda's shop assistant, who greets.
Hi.
Excuse me. Hello. I heard you purchased the servants' quarters for Rosethorn Hall, and I was wondering if you had anyone in mind to fill that position. For 150 gold and a roof over my head, I'm yours. Well, to help around the house, I mean.
We can then respond, not right now. I haven't even seen the house furnished fully.
Very well. If you change your mind, I'll be here.
Seeing how dejected Gunda's assistant seems, we can't help but feel that something more is going on, and perhaps sparing the gold is in both our best interests. And we can instead say,
Hello.
you know what? I do need somebody to help out. It sounds good. I accept.
Excellent. I'll move in immediately.
Bye.
We then see Gunda glaring at us behind the counter. Approaching the Nord, we question.
Good day.
So Gunda, no hard feelings about your assistant, right? She was the one that asked me to buy her out.
I like Skingrad just fine. Folks are a little quiet by Skyrim standards, but they're friendly and loyal when they get to know you.
Loyal, huh? Gunda doesn't seem pleased.
You too.
In fact, it seems Gunda and his butler buddy were probably anticipating splitting some coin from the overpriced furniture deal. I guess now we're going to have to learn why Aya wanted desperately to be bought off.
Bye.
Exiting the trader, we trail behind Aya on her way to the manor, and she celebrates.
I can't wait. Finally, I'm away from that horrid store.
Surprised she's so elated to leave Gunda's service, we think it's probably best to discuss the matter inside the safety of our new home. We then note in our journal, I've hired a pleasant Nord woman named Aya to staff my home as a maid at Rosethorn Hall. She said she'd take residence in the servants' quarters. Meeting her inside our newly furnished home, Aya dutifully questions.
Good day, my lord. How can I be of service?
Well, if you're going to be working for me, I'd like to know a little bit more about you, Aya. Your early life, your time with Gunda. It seemed you really wanted to leave. What was that about?
Me? There's not much to say. I was orphaned when I was young, and don't even remember who my parents were. I'm not really sad about it. It was so long ago. Gunda took me in when I was but a teen, and I've lived there ever since. We've shared a bed, but we're never married. He's never been cruel to me. It's just that he's never been kind. It's as if I'm just another part of his shop. But that's all different now. I'm glad to be serving you instead. I can see we will get along just fine.
I don't doubt that we will. However, this sheds light on Aya's plight, and although slavery is outlawed in Cyrodiil, it seems the Empire turns a blind eye to indentured servitude, as Aya, a previous orphan, was cast aside and, in her words, almost became property, sharing a bed with Gunda, becoming one of his possessions among the clutter of his store. On a happier note, Aya is actually programmed to provide us with an infinite amount of food as long as we have a kitchen installed in the house, if we request it.
Certainly. Here you are. Shepherd's pie. My own recipe.
Although the attributes of her famous shepherd's pie are dependent on our alchemical skills, its first two boons of cure disease and shield are still very formidable. If we instead ask for a drink, it should respond.
Certainly. Here you are. A nice mead will relax you.
We can then receive the bespoke Rosethorn Maid, imparting Drain Intelligence 5 and Willpower. Something Gunda himself had trouble with. However, it will fortify our strength and endurance for more involved activities. It should also be noted that Aya seems quite receptive when we try and buy her affection via the disposition wheel.
Take your time. Thank you. How kind. See? Was that hard? Thank you. How kind. Be well, my lord.
As the hour grows late, it's probably best we show Aya her quarters so she can retire for the evening. Now, I know the title of the video would probably attract some negative attention and you'd say, Dash, she's not technically a sex slave, or you bought her as one from Gunda, but obviously Bethesda killed any real romance in the game. However, thanks to the community and their predilection to creating mods that have to do with romance, there are a few Aya-based mods as people decided that she was a little too plain as a maid that makes shepherd's pie. And just looking at one on the screen, you can see that she has newer maid outfits. She'll do things like swim, sweeps floors, prepares dinner. She'll even read and go to bed. On the weekends, she likes to go out for a drink and stargaze on the balcony. One of the funniest things I read on this is Aya is younger and more attractive. Obviously, people have put a lot of TLC into, a lot more thought than one would imagine, into this being a companion mod, but she also actually helps on quests from what I can see. She sneaks and has commands, etc. So that's pretty cool, as Oblivion really lacked more nuance and, I dare say, romance, but also companions as well. So she ticks all the boxes if that's what you're into. However, as promised, let's check out the treasure section of the video to end things. So, if we start to look around our mansion a bit and head back upstairs to our own bedroom, there is a peculiar box-shaped structure just over the stairs where we have our desk. Using either telekinesis or well-timed jumps, we can get on top of said box structure and see a long-forgotten note of a previous owner called Daravan the Grey. Now, he basically was betrayed by his friend called Delgarian and left a note for his love to find his treasure and knows he's about to be hauled off to the Imperial prison. However, as the note is intact, it seems, perhaps, his love did not find his treasure within the mansion. The only clue that the note leaves to the treasure is, "Two bodies have I, though both joined in one. The more I stand still, the quicker I run." Searching the manor top to bottom with a fine-tooth comb for any item that sticks out or clue to this riddle drives us half mad, as it seems that perhaps that the treasure was absconded with. It's only when re-entering the servants' quarters and looking at the garlic do we notice something that we didn't notice before in the pillars, an hourglass on its side, which boasts two bodies and in which the sand would run faster the more it stands still. Inside the battered hourglass, we discover a ring in several precious gems. This must be the treasure of Rosethorn Hall, with a combined value of 2,100 gold, a tidy sum. However, more interesting is the ring we discover called the Ring of Grey, which boasts Fortify Sneak, Security and Marksman 5 points on self, Detect Life 50 points on self, Resist Poison 50% on self, and Fortify Acrobatics 5 points on self. Well, it looks like we'll have no trouble locating Aya as she saunters around the property. Waking the burly Nordess, she shares her skills in seduction, Skyrim maiden style.
How can I be of service? That the best you can do?